Good morning, students. Last class we have done what are cathode rays. Cathode rays are the rays containing negatively charged particles which are moving from cathode to anode. Now in 1897, J.J. Thomson studied the cathode rays and its properties in detail and determined the charge to mass ratio of the electrons which make up the cathode rays. The term electron was given by J.J. Thomson. He said that cathode rays are made up of negatively charged particles which are called as electrons. He used a modified cathode ray discharge tube. You can see this is a modified cathode ray discharge tube. This is the cathode. This is an anode which is having a hole in a center. You can see there is a hole in the center through which the cathode rays can pass. There is a vacuum pump to reduce the pressure inside. This part of the discharge tube is coated with zinc sulfide so that we can see where the cathode rays are moving. Now he took this discharge tube and he applied first the electric field, then he applied the magnetic field. He saw the deviation of the cathode rays, then he simultaneously applied both the electric and the magnetic field and studying their strength, the degree of deviation, he found out the charge to mass ratio. Let us see how. Initially, when this discharge tube was taken and a very low pressure of 10 to the power minus 2 atmosphere and a high voltage of 10,000 volts was applied. We know that from cathode certain rays came out which were called as cathode rays. They moved towards the positively charged anode and they pass through this hole and they strike the zinc sulfide screen at this point B. We know zinc sulfide is a fluorescent material. Whenever anything strikes the screen, a glow, a flash of light is produced. The flash of light is produced at point B. So this was the experiment he did and he got the glow at point B. Next what he did, he applied, this is the direction of the cathode rays, he applied an electric field perpendicular to the direction. You can see perpendicular to the direction. So I can say he applied an electric field, a positive terminal this side and a negative terminal this side outside the cathode ray tube. And he found that these anode rays were deflected towards the positive terminal and we could see the glow at point A. So when an electric field was applied, the cathode rays deviated towards the positive terminal and the glow was obtained at point A. This proved that cathode rays were made up of negatively charged particles. After this, he removed the electric field and he applied the magnetic field. As I have told you, he used a magnet with a north pole and a south. And this magnetic field was placed perpendicular to the electric field that was placed earlier. So if this is the electric field, the magnetic field was placed perpendicular to it like this. This is the electric field and magnetic field was placed perpendicular to it. So when the magnetic field was applied, it was observed that the glow was obtained at point C. The cathode rays deviated from their path and the glow was applied at point C. After that, Thomson applied the electric field and the magnetic field simultaneously, but in such a way, this is the electric field and a magnetic field was applied. I can just say it is outside the tube, not inside the tube, right? So this is the north pole and this is the south pole, opposite side. The electric field was applied perpendicular to the direction. Electric and magnetic field were perpendicular to each other and perpendicular to the direction of the cathode rays. He adjusted the strength of electric and magnetic field in such a way, because they are deviating them in opposite direction. So he adjusted their strength and again obtained the glow at point B. So by adjusting the strength of electric and magnetic field, so that they cancel each other's effect. So that they cancel each other's effect, and the glow was again produced at point B. He also said that the amount of deviation of cathode rays from their original path, the amount of deviation of cathode rays depends upon first the negative charge, the magnitude of negative charge on the particles that make up the cathode rays. He said that more the negative charge, more will be the deviation. Secondly, he said it depends upon the mass of negatively charged particles that make the cathode rays. Heavier they are, less will be the deviation from their mean path. And thirdly, he said it also depends upon the strength of electric and magnetic field. He continued his experiment by changing the material of the cathode and the gas inside the discharge tube. But he found that if I don't change the strength of electric and magnetic field, the deviation was same. That means, again we repeat that point, cathode rays are independent of the material of the cathode or the gas used. So he said that all the matter universally consists of negatively charged particles called electron. All the matter will have negatively charged particles called electron. And by doing mathematical calculations, he found that the charge to mass ratio in case of electron was Coulomb per kg. So this was the value of charge to mass that he obtained. So this is how the electron was discovered by J.J. Thomson, and he said that cathode rays are made up of negatively charged particles, and these negatively charged particles are present in all atoms or all matter. Because even on changing the material of the cathode, even on changing the gas, the nature of cathode rays didn't change. So the discovery of electron was done by J.J. Thomson, and he determined the charge to mass ratio of electron. Now we know the charge to mass ratio. If any one thing we can determine, either the charge or the mass, then we can calculate the other thing. After J.J. Thomson, there was a scientist, R.A. Millikan, who performed a very famous oil drop experiment and determined the charge on the electron. Once the charge on electron was determined, it was easy to determine the mass by calculation. So, we can say the mass of electron, the charge on an electron, was calculated by R.A. Millikan by his famous oil drop experiment. After the discovery of J.J. Thomson discovered electron after charge to mass ratio, this was again an important thing that was discovered. He found that the charge on electron is equal to 1.602776176 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. This was the charge on electron that was found out. Now, if I substitute the value of charge here, the mass of electron found was 9.1094 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. So this is the charge on the electron and this is the mass of electron. So this we have done with the discovery of electron. Thank you.